y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle and I'm the owner of Damn Fancy Creations and the Drunk Flamingo Glitter. If you guys are new to my channel, I do want to let you know that all of my links and groups will be posted in the description below in case y'all want to check them out. In today's tutorial, we're going to go over everything you see listed here. This is a super fun but super simple Halloween tumbler. You can always jazz up a tumbler with some peekaboo text. I love the opposite side of the tumbler with the 4 glittered sections. If you want to take it one step further, you can also add a bleach spot with a fun Halloween image. I just kind of left mine blank in case a customer wanted something in particular. And as always, if you guys have questions about anything I went over in the tutorial or products I use, please just ask in the comments and I'll come back and answer them. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get started on this tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright y'all, so we're going to start with a 24-ounce plump from the Steel Magnolias. We are going to remove the bottom cap with a metal putty knife and a hammer. If you guys have not tried the Steel Magnolias, I do have a discount code below. And I like to remove the cap so that we can do glitter butts or rhinestone bottom, just something a little fun that your customer may not be expecting. This does not affect the integrity of the cup at all. This is just a cap. So now that it is removed, I am going to tape off the bottom rim with some electrical tape, and then we are going to spray paint it. I have been taping off the very bottoms of my rims because when I do the glitter butts, I think it just gives a cleaner look if the bottom rim is stainless and then the interior is glitter or rhinestones. This is just my personal preference. Obviously, if you want to glitter the entire thing, you can definitely do that as well. But now that everything is taped off, I am just going to take this downstairs really quick and spray paint it with a flat black spray paint from Rustoleum. And once that is completely dry, we will be ready for our next step. So before we glitter, we're going to divide our tumbler into 2 equal parts. I learned this trick from Cameo with Untitled Tumblers. I will link her YouTube below. She is super sweet. She is one of the nicest people that I have spoken with. And I learned this trick from one of her YouTubes. So we just traced our tumbler onto a regular sheet of paper and we are going to cut it out. It does not have to be perfect. We're just cutting the circle out for a template. And we are going to fold it in half so that the circle is completely even. And I am just going to mark the lines just so I can see it a little better. And we're going to just kind of set this piece of paper on top of our tumbler. And I'm going to mark on my tumbler where these marks are on the paper. So that way we get 2 equal sides on our tumbler. So this is a super, super easy way to divide your tumbler equally. I usually don't even worry about dividing my tumbler equally just because I hate math. I don't want to fool with it, but this was super easy. So y'all go check out Cammy's YouTube. She has a lot of great little tricks. I will link her below. Go give her a follow, show her some love. So now that our tumbler is marked, we're going to tape it off with some painter's tape. So when you divide your tumbler with tape, we are going to apply our tape behind the pencil marks. So that way the first section will be completely 1/2 of the tumbler. So these are the 4 colors that I'm using. And I am just going to divide my tumbler into 4 sections. I am using painter's tape, and I am just vaguely gauging the separation between each line. I'm trying to do 2 lines of painter's tape per color, but the top and the bottom are going to be slightly less than 2, obviously, because it's at a diagonal. So the top section and the bottom section are going to be a little less than 2 full paint stripes, but you'll just have to kind of arrange it how you want. And I'm going to use Artistry's glitter glue to apply my glitter. If you guys have not tried this, it is one of my favorite ways to apply glitter now. I typically use the epoxy method or clear spray paint for everything, but once I've tried this glitter glue, it is amazing. It is very similar to applying glitter with epoxy, just how the glue's texture is. It is a million times better than Mod Podge. If you guys want to check it out, I do have a discount code linked in the description. So once I get a decent coat of glitter glue on, I'm just going to sprinkle on my glitter. And then we're going to do the very bottom section. And then we're going to sprinkle on this color. And I get asked all the time how long it takes for glitter glue to dry. And it really depends on how thick your coat is. I would say if you do a decent coat, I would say I would wait maybe 45 minutes to an hour. It also depends on how warm it is. Obviously, if it's really hot, if you're working outside, then it will dry a lot quicker than if you're in a colder environment. So now that the top and bottom sections are done, we're going to peel off 2 tape sections. And this is going to be our 3rd color. And we're just going to apply another coat of glitter glue right in this section. You do have to be a little bit more careful with how you apply the glue since we are applying this next to a glitter color. But I am just kind of going right along that edge, and then I smooth everything out. And then we're going to sprinkle on our color. I try not to get any of this color in the red section, but if you overlap it a little bit, that's okay. It's not a huge deal. We are going to detail these sections with pinstripes, so if there's one little glitter flake out of place or whatever, then we can just cover that with the pinstripe. So now we're going to do our last section. We're going to peel off the last 2 pieces of tape. And then we're just going to apply the glitter glue to this section. I typically will start off in the center, get that good and covered, and then we'll go back and apply the glue right along the line of the other glitter sections. And for the last glitter, we're just going to very carefully sprinkle it just right up against the other glitter sections, trying hard not to sprinkle the purple onto the green or orange sections. And then we're going to bang it off really good. I think this looks really good. The sections were pretty even. So now we're going to get out our 5th flock box color. And we're going to remove the tape. And then we're just going to cover this entire side with glitter glue. Making sure you get the edges really good. I'm just taking my paintbrush right up against the edge of this glitter. And then smoothing everything out, making sure the whole surface is covered. And then we're going to sprinkle on this glitter. This has a lot of Halloween shapes in it, so I am sprinkling kind of higher up so that the shapes lay flat. And then if you have any poking up, you can just kind of lay them flat. Kind of stick them down with your finger. I had a couple that were kind of overlapping on the other glitter side, so I just picked them off. They're super easy since they're such large pieces. So I'm just kind of making sure that everything is laid down. I don't want it to dry when it is sticking straight up. It will make it more difficult to epoxy. So once I get everything pressed down and no glitter pieces are sticking up, I'm going to remove the tape along the bottom rim. I will wait about 45 minutes to an hour, make sure that glitter glue is good and dry. We don't have any sections that were super thick on this tumbler, so an hour should be plenty of time for everything to dry. Then I will take Rustoleum 2x clear spray paint and I will seal this really, really good. You can either use the gloss, semi-gloss, matte, it doesn't really matter. I typically use gloss just because that's what I have on hand mainly, but matte spray paint does dry a lot quicker. And once the Rustoleum clear spray is good and dry, I'm going to put this on my turner and apply 2 layers of epoxy. Make sure everything is super smooth for our next step. So after 2 layers of epoxy, I did sand around the top rim and I sanded the base of the tumbler if it needed it. Now we're going to apply our Peekaboo Template. If you guys ordered this month's flock box, this is the decal that was in it. I like to use both parts of the decal if I can. So first step, we're going to remove only the interior of this decal. This way you're not just wasting another piece of vinyl just for a template that you're going to throw away. And we know that the offset is going to fit perfectly around this peekaboo. So now we are left with the offset, and we're going to apply the template. I am just going to apply this right in the center. Smooth it down really good, and then remove our transfer tape. And since we're only going to power wash this one side of our tumbler, I am going to cut a sheet of cardstock or regular paper, and I am going to tape this to the opposite side. That way, this side of the tumbler is not going to get any spray paint when we go downstairs to spray paint this tumbler. So now that everything is taped off, we are going to take this downstairs. I am taping around the very bottom rim as well. It'll just make it easier, less cleanup. So now we are downstairs, and we are going to use power wash. This is the Dawn power wash, and there's Birdie. And we're going to use flat black Rustoleum. And I also decided to use this color from ColorShot. It's called Cheers, and it just kind of gives a metallic sheen. So I like to shake up my power wash. I feel like I get better suds when I shake it up. I always test it to see, make sure it's spraying correctly. And we are just going to spritz on some soap suds. We don't want a ton of soap suds on here since we want the majority of this side to be black with just a little peekaboo. And then we are going to take the flat black Rustoleum, and we're just going to spray it all over this side of the cup. And after I spray the black, I'm going to take some of that Cheers, and we're just going to spritz it all over. And then I'm going to take my little bucket of water, and we're just going to pour it over this side of the tumbler, just to wash off any of that soap. And once I washed off the power wash, I did want my side a little bit more black, so I waited for this spray paint to dry, and then I redid the power wash a second time to get a darker base. So here is what my tumbler looks like after the second power wash, and we are just going to go in and remove that vinyl decal. I'm just using my little tweezers and then peeling the rest up. And if you have any residue left over from your vinyl, which I did on this one, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, I just go in with a Q-tip and some acetone, and we're just going to clean up those letters. I don't get my Q-tip too damp. We just want a little bit of acetone on there, and then I'm just going in and kind of scrubbing any of that sticky residue off of my tumbler. This is also an opportunity to clean up any paint lines. If you had any black paint seep underneath the vinyl decal, you can also clean that up during this step. And after we get our lines and any of that sticky residue off, we are going to apply the vinyl offset to this peekaboo. So I am just weeding the little tiny glitter pieces that are in between the letters. Then we're going to get our transfer tape. This transfer tape is listed in my description. I get asked what kind I use all the time. It's just some from Amazon. So we're going to carefully remove the decal. Sometimes this holographic vinyl can be a little tricky to get up. So once we have our decal removed, I am just going to line up the first letter and then kind of hold the other letters on top, make sure everything is lined up correctly. And then we're just going to smooth everything down. And then we're going to grab our other decal. I think I had a little piece of hair stuck in here. Or fuzz. So here's our other decal. And I applied my first decal, the spooky, a little bit off-centered, so it's a little bit further down the cup, because I knew that I was going to apply the season kind of overhanging the spooky, so I wanted to make sure there was enough room. So that way when I apply the season decal, the entire text will be centered, if that makes sense. I hope I explained that correctly. And I do get asked all the time, you know, do you apply your decals going up the cup or down the cup? And my answer is always, I apply my decals from bottom to top. And the reason why I do this is because if you look at soda cans, all of the names, if they're going up and down the cup, they are applied from bottom to top. So in my mind, all of these larger companies had probably spent thousands of dollars to determine which way produced a more positive effect. So I'm assuming that they probably got the best response from cans that had the logo or image going from bottom to top. So that's just how I apply my decals. That's just how my brain works. And right now I am just going in and cleaning up any little spots with a Q-tip and some acetone. Just cleaning up any of those little spots that may have overspray from the second time that I did the power wash. If I felt like one section was a little too dark, I just removed some of that spray paint with the Q-tip and acetone just to brighten it up a little bit. So once we are finished with this part, we are going to move on to pinstriping. So we are going to cut some vinyl to outline the glittered sections, as well as the 4 glittered sections on the opposite side of this cup. And when I cut out pinstripes, I usually cut full sheets of each color. So I will have a full 12 by 12 sheet of black pinstripes, a full 12 by 12 sheet of gold pinstripes, and whatever other colors I normally use. The reason why I do a full sheet is just so I always have them on hand. It's something super easy to do. That way you only have to cut pinstripes once every few months, if that. And the sizes that I usually cut my pinstripes in are 0.07, 0.05, and 0.03. The reason why I cut multiple sizes is so I can layer them if I want to. I typically always layer my pinstripes, so this way I always have multiple size options on hand. So for this cup, we're going to start off with black pinstripes. And I always do the pinstripes that are going across the cup first, so that when we lie the pinstripes that are going up and down the cup, they will cover any edges that may be sticking out. You don't want to layer these pinstripes on top of the other ones because it just won't look as clean. And I believe the ones that I'm using for this particular set is the 0.07. They're one of the largest sizes that I cut. And I'm going to use some nail tape for the interior of these pinstripes. And I just picked out a few different sizes, a few different colors. If you guys have not tried nail tape, it is great for really small pinstripes. And it's pretty cheap. I think it's like 10 bucks on Amazon for an entire pack. I will link some nail tape in the description below. And I typically work in 1.5 inch sections when I'm applying nail tape. I will lay about an inch down, make sure it's even, and then smooth it down. So there's our first color. It's kind of an orangey red. And then I always fold my nail tape over. That way it's really easy to find the end of the nail tape. A lot of times if you smooth it down onto the roll, it's really, really hard to get back up. Like this one, I was having to use my blade to get the end back up because it's so thin and fine. It's really hard to see the end. So this is our purple. Y'all can see I get about an inch laid, then we're going to smooth it out. This one worked out really well. Clearly, it doesn't usually always work out that well. Sometimes I have to lift them up, reposition them. So our last color is going to be green. We're going to lay down the end. And y'all can see a little better here how I'm just like pressing down an inch and then moving to the next section. And for this particular pinstripe, it was just like a little bit off. So I just lifted both lines up and kind of repositioned it. And then it was perfect. So now that these pinstripes are laid, we are going to lay the other ones that are going to overlap these. And I decided to go with some fun color. I love this holographic, it's like a holographic kind of rosy gold. I just picked this up from my local vinyl distributor, which is PerfecPress HTV, formerly known as JSI Signs. They're located in Norcross, Georgia. They're about 40 minutes from me, maybe. So if you guys are local to the area, go check them out. They have the best prices on vinyl. If you do HTV, they also have a lot of that. I realized that I applied the wrong size. So I just lifted that up and applied a different one. And I am just trimming this at the end. And then I'm going to take a really thin black pinstripe. This is the 0.03. And we're just going to smooth that right down the center. And then trim it at the end. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. And once you get that finished, if you want to seal your pinstripes, now would be the time to do that. I typically use Quick Seal from Artistry Epoxy. And I'm using acetone just to clean off any of that spray paint from around the top rim. And then we are going to epoxy. That bird is really loud. So now we are going to apply a layer of epoxy. My favorite epoxy is Artistry's 1-to-1 Fast Set. If you guys have not tried them, I definitely suggest it. I do have a discount code below. It is a great epoxy. I get very minimal bubbles. There's no odor. You can use this for a final coat. And it is typically dry in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. You can apply your second coat after an hour. And once you have applied 2 coats of epoxy, we will be ready to do our glitter butt. So now that this tumbler is completely cured, I mixed up 2 colors of glitter. And I'm filling the first cavity with gold. I believe I used Mimosa. It's my most popular gold from the Drunk Flamingo. And I'm going ahead and filling this other glitter butt. This is our 3D Spider Tumbler that we finished this month in my mentorship group. If you guys want to check out my mentorship group, that is also linked in the description. We do lives every week. We have group challenges and exclusive tutorials in there. So for the spider one, I used Dusty Rose and Mimosa. And this green is Mint Julep. I thought this golden green went really well. So once this cures, we are going to go back with a clear layer of epoxy and apply that to the very bottom. That way the bottom of our tumbler is super smooth. And after you get done with that, your tumbler will be complete. Here are some final pictures of this tumbler. I love how it turned out. I think it's super fun. I love all these colors. They were perfect for Halloween. And if you guys get inspired by this and make your own tumbler, please post in the group because I love to see what you guys come up with. If y'all enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to catch the next video coming up that was picked just for you. As always, if you're looking for more tips, tricks, or tutorials, be sure to check out my tutorial group or mentorship group. Both are linked in the description. Thanks for watching.